Next to testify is Mr. and Mrs. Feinberg, a constituent, a Representative Dave Maloney, Sr. Welcome.
Shall I sit?
Yeah, oh, sure you can sit.
Good morning, Chairman Makosi and Chairman DeLuca, and good morning to all of you, members of the House Committee. My name is Margaret Feinberg. You may have heard about me, Mr. Makosi.
Well, I heard.
Probably. I am here today to thank you all for the support of this Senate Bill 388. I know there are excellent dentists out there, and I do have excellent ones now, who do carry malpractice and to protect themselves and also to protect the patients should anything happen. In my case, I would like to tell you a brief background. In 2005, my former dentist was Morton Amsterdam at the University of Pennsylvania.
Can you push that closer?
Oh, I'm sorry. My former dentist was Morton Amsterdam, head of the University of Pennsylvania, prosthodontics. He had retired, and his associate, who had worked with me and done dentistry, had relocated to Atlanta. So in Reading, I decided there should be somebody in Berks County who would be the type of dentist specialty I was looking for. I sought the consultation of an oral surgeon in my area. I don't have to say the name, but he was 45 years in practice, board qualified, and had taken care of my 5 children over the years with wisdom teeth. I said to this gentleman, I had a meeting with him, I said, I'm looking for a prosthodontic because I had quite a bit of work done at the University of Penn. He said, there is one boarded prosthodontic in Berks County. He's the only one, apart from another gentleman, who is not boarded. Now, my own career was in nursing, midwifery, and a clinical instructor at New York University, where I was responsible for the teaching 4 subjects to several hundred nursing students. So I thought the best decision for me was to go with somebody who was boarded. So my friend and neighbor, the oral surgeon, told me he was the only one. He was a star athlete and a highest honor student from Temple University. I made an appointment, went to see him. I introduced myself. He introduced his wife, who was CEO, office manager, and dental assistant, and expanded dental assistant. I said to him I had sought the advice of the oral surgeon in my area, and that he was highly recommended. I also informed him that you are the only board-certified prosthodontic in Berks County, and he and his wife did not say, no, I'm not. He just smiled and said, thank you. So my treatment started with this doctor 6 years and 10 months today. So this was the beginning of my journey. On the 25th of April, 2005, I had my first treatment, which lasted 6 hours and 50 minutes. You probably understand I come from another country. So as a child, I had severe illness with rheumatic fever. Fortunately, I lived through it, even though I was not anticipated to live. I was supposed to have died, but I guess I'm here for a reason. So basically, I went to see him. I take prophylactic antibiotics prior to my surgery. I volunteered that. They didn't ask me. So after 6 hours and 50 minutes of administration with nitrous oxide and Valium, they informed me that it was over. They left me. They didn't say to me, this is your post-operative care. They congratulated each other on doing a great job, and they walked away, leaving me to be on my own. So I went to the desk, and I have a mitral valve prolapse. At that time, after the amount of medication that I had, I was feeling really anxious, very dizzy, rapid heartbeat, which I have been able to control over the years through medication and diet. So I asked the receptionist, would you please book me a hotel room, because I'm afraid if I get in my car, I may kill somebody or kill myself, because I felt I was going to pass out There was nobody at my home. My 5 children are out of the house in their different professions. And my husband was 2 hours away. He's a physician in Bloomsburg. So at least I felt if I went to the hotel, at least I would have an immediate, phone available to call. So after that, the procedure, I went back to him several times. And then a couple of months, there was a hit put on me, for the amount of money, which was quite an amount. It was about just under $40,000, and that was only half, $39,425. I questioned the amount of money because I thought it was a lot. And I called my husband, and at that time we had very much trust in this dentist. He was a charming fellow, very nice personality, very encouraging. And my husband basically said, he seems like a decent fellow. I think you should go ahead, take care of yourself if you need dentistry done. So that evening, I had to be back in the office at 5 p.m. with the money. It had to be back by 5. It had to be in the office by 5 o'clock. I had suggested, maybe I can come back tomorrow. Maybe I can mail it to you. And she said, no, absolutely not. I shouldn't mention the name. Anyway, I did that. So after about 3 months of my going back, they suddenly decided that this treatment plan was not for me. So he said there was a new procedure called teeth in an hour, and that it was the perfect procedure for me. It was all about Wall Street brokers, and bankers, and all these people with limo service. And I said, all of these choices, I'm not. I'm a mother, housewife, 5 children, the usual stuff that we women do. So anyway, they presented it, and they set up an appointment for the surgery. The night before I called up, I was very concerned. I had never heard of this teeth in an hour. I didn't know what it was. So was my husband. I asked to speak to this doctor, and his wife ran interference continuously. She wouldn't allow you to talk to him. I said, if plan A doesn't work, do you have a plan B? She said, no, we don't need a plan B. Your work will be perfect. And I said, but I'd still like to talk to the doctor. She said, no, he's busy. He doesn't have all day to talk to you. So I went for the procedure. Again, nitrous oxide, no license by him. He didn't have a nitrous oxide. She, uncertified, had no registration or certification except to take x-rays. She was the one who administered it. So again, I checked into the hotel. And in the morning, I looked, and I have never seen anything like the work that was done. It was the most horrific, nothing like myself. I always say my Irish family have small spaced teeth, and that was what was happening to me. My teeth were beginning to space, and they decided that as I was getting older, I should have some dental work done. So I refused the treatment. Things went from bad to worse. I had a total of about 67 appointments. His wife was having some severe problems. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention it or not, but she had some mental problems, i.e. alcoholic, child custody battles going on, demands for money from other patients, and it was difficult because these discussions were held, these arguments, while I was there, and it was her 7th husband by the time she was 40, plus that she had 10 plastic surgeries and had her 7th husband by the time she was 40. I'm sorry, I just have to tell you the story because you could not script this.
No problem, you're doing good.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCosey. My own career was in the nursing field, from Ireland, England, Los Angeles, Manhattan, right? I really thought, giving my 200% to everything I did. And I might say I looked after politicians too, Mr. McCosey. They're, very nice people. But anyway, as I said, it got very difficult.
Politicians are nice people?
Yes, sir.
We don't hear that too much, you know.
Well, I'm saying it to you because I think you are. So anyway, getting back to it, there was some awful problems in the office. It became very unhealthy for me, very unprofessional, arguments, and the final day I was there was April, I think it was 2nd. And I had gone back in to tell him, I need you to do this work. I need you to finish. I have obligations. I have my son going to Ireland to medical school. I need to move on. And you're nearly 2 years. I've been more than patient. I said to him all the time. He convinced me he was going to stand by me. He'd do the work. And then I got, procrastination. I'm only one person here. And I said, but why don't you hire some people, right, to help you out? How can one person and your wife do all of this work that you're doing? So finally, on April 2nd, I was in the chair for a checkup, and there was this awful scream. I thought somebody had been shot. So Mrs. X came flying by, screaming for a doctor, and I heard the conversation. She was on the phone, and the patient on the phone was using some four-letter expletives to her. She was putting the demand on for money again. So basically, they walked away, and I thought, this is it again. They were all comforting her, the reception, what a wonderful person she was. So I said, what about me? And they said, you're done. So I said, but I haven't gotten my 4 lower veneers. So next morning, I decided I'll call back and give him a final chance to explain himself. So I called back, I spoke to the secretary. I said, I need to speak to doctor, okay? And she said, well, he's busy. This is the usual runaround I got. So she called me back about an hour later, said basically, doctor's busy, he has your veneers, he doesn't like them, they're too big, the color isn't right, but he's going to send them back to the lab. And we don't know if we can fit you in for your May appointment. You are a big case, but we don't know, if we can do it. So at that time, went home, talked to my husband, and we decided to call Dr. Garber, the Goldstein-Garber group in Atlanta, because my Dr. Garber had been one of my very fine dentists who had worked with me previously. So I don't know if I'm supposed to mention the group or not, the Goldstein-Garber group. Is that should I or should I? No mention?
You want to mention a name?
Yeah. Where I went to.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay, I'm not mentioning Dr. X in Berks County. So basically what happened was the good doctor said to me, get your money back. And I think you should come here for a consultation. So my husband approached Dr. X and asked him for the money back. And he said he didn't have it.
Yeah.
So we went to Atlanta for a consultation. And it was in Atlanta that I found out the horrors of my story. The 3 implants that failed, one so dangerously placed that it has to stay. The veneers of the lower were done over old work, which was mobile. And all of my bottom teeth were so badly filed down that the whole work had to be redone. I went through 2 years, 23 visits, 2 4.5 hours of surgery, with 3 dentists, all boarded in their different specialties. I had to have general anesthesia with Dr. Howard Odam, who is the president of the anesthesiology, private duty nurse, and I had to stay there 5 days because of the amount of work done.
The question I have, how's this the story that you have? Evidently, this doctor didn't have liability insurance?
No. Well, what happened, Mr. McCosey, was after I discovered what happened, I wanted to go back and find out. When something like this happens, I think to all of you who are reasonably intelligent, you wonder why you accept it. It was like a blind trust. I was schooled in Great Britain, where we had a kind of a class system, where doctors were dentists, all the professions were really like the right hand of God. It was yes, sir, no, sir, every day of my student days for the 4 years. So after we decided, my husband decided to do some research. And he found out that dentists do not have to carry malpractice in Pennsylvania. I am not covered by malpractice. I have gone to extraordinary means over the last 4 years. I've gone to the district attorney, the police, everything, trying to get them to take some action. This dentist is still practicing. He is in the office of some dentists. We objected to his license renewal. Nobody said anything. It was renewed April 1st for 2 years. So after we started the investigation, then we decided, right? So about dozens of people have called me, patients of his. Their stories are heartbreaking, Mr. McCosey.
Yeah.
They are older, retired people who have spent anything from $48,000, $13,000 to $19,000, who do not have the resources to go back and have the work redone.
Well, you know, first of all, I want to thank you for the intensity that you have provided in my office, the phone calls, and because we wouldn't be here unless you made all them phone calls and your representative that contacted me and I contacted my good friend here, DeLuca. So we're going to do everything we can to see if we can push this through.
Okay, Mr. McCosey, I just wanted to say, and thank you, Mr. Maloney. I appreciate the help. All I'm saying is that I took this very personally. I feel that we're all on this world, you know, for a short time. I could have walked away from this, but my husband and I have paid a tremendous amount of money. You know, no lawyer will take you on without malpractice.
Yeah.
Mr. Bourbon, sorry about that. But we've paid, and we hope that the fact that my husband and I, over a period of 30 or 40 years that we've lived in Berks County, we've taken our money hard saved, and hopefully that this will make this accountable, that malpractice would be pressed, and that this would never happen again. I understand and fully accept. I've worked with the best people from Great Britain to Los Angeles to New York. I've never had a problem. They've all been very good. But as you know, there are bad and good apples in every group, wherever you go. The people that I am most concerned about are the retired older people in the nursing homes. Their calls to me have been amazing. I wish that even if I got a settlement, it's not worth the money he's on because there is no malpractice.
Anyone have any questions? Representative Day.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you for your testimony. You've delivered probably one of the best unscripted testimonies that I've heard in many years, not just in this job, but in other jobs that I've held as well. In your comments, you talked about questioning yourself and questioning, why did I let this go on so long? And I think you phrased it differently. And I just want to say I appreciate your courage to come here and testify publicly about this situation in the hopes of helping other people not have to go through this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Representative Maloney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, want to publicly and personally thank the chairman, the committee, the amount of time and energy that was put into this, and the word passion was used, and I can honestly say that, to me, without passion, we don't have vision. So, again, thank you very much, and I certainly hope that this is what's needed to correct something that is going awry. So thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Representative DeLuca.
I, too, want to thank you for your testimony. And I would like to ask the department, is the department taking action so far against this situation here, an investigation?
I can say that, yes, Mrs. Michael did contact the Bureau of Professional Occupational Affairs, and this is a matter of public record. Disciplinary action was initiated, has proceeded through, and I believe we're awaiting a decision.
So at least we want to commend the department for,
Yes.
sorry that you have to go through, you went through all this, but at least the department is taking action and they're on top of it. So I'd like to commend the department. In that,
the only thing is, for somebody like me coming from a pedestrian level, not in the legal or dental field, a midwife, I can, that was my life, delivering children in England and whatnot. This has all been a learning experience for me. We've gone through every step. State hearing for 3 days. The Dr. X's license, they have asked for revocation, and at my 3-day hearing, I don't know if I'm supposed to volunteer, but I'm not mentioning any names, but I too have demanded revocation of his license. He's still practicing, and it's very upsetting to me to see that he's still in the area, and after objection to we had applied for 2 emergency suspensions of his license, and again his license was renewed April 1st for 2 years. So basically, the reason that I continue on with this is basically to make sure that he's held accountable and that there will be no further victims. And again, I will state, very openly. I have a tremendous respect for the professions, and I have very good dentists, and there are very good dentists, and I do know that most of them do carry insurance to protect them, not only themselves, but to protect their patients, so that there is some kind of compensation. The other issue I would like to say right now very quickly is the late Michael Paik was a friend to everybody and a friend to us. He took immediate action, and I was able to get to the state immediately. Then when he passed away, Senator Vance took over, and she did a fabulous job in presenting it. It was passed, as you know, June 22nd, unanimously by the Senate.
Yeah, we trained Senator Vance in the House of Representatives.
Well, now you can train me, sir.
Representative Day.
So thank you very much, and I appreciate that you give me time to express to you. It is a daunting experience for me
sure.
because it's been a lot in my life. I've been left with trigeminal nerve damage. I have no feeling on this side of my tongue, and I have pulsation and suffer from severe tinnitus, and I have the bone where he removed some teeth that should never have been removed to accommodate this teeth in an hour, and I have part of my mandible which protrudes through my gum line. So basically I want to eventually take care of this.
Yeah, Representative Day has.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for recognizing me for a second time. Just heard more information, and I was just curious, Katie, could I be listed as a, could I be contacted as a interested party on every step of the process, please? Thank you.
So, Mr. McCosey, this has been a heartbreaking time for me. I have a large family. Thank God they're all good. It has taken a toll. But the idea that you have somebody in your office who's not certified, there is a website on with around 6,000 hits. It shows that the state did remove her license as a radiologist and that she admitted to performing dental as a dental hygienist and expanded dental without qualification.
On a personal note, did the rheumatic fever damage your heart?
I have a mitral valve.
Yeah.
But I have taken care of it through the years.
I had rheumatic fever, and I had, although, like,
well, I guess
I've outlasted it. So
right. No, it's manageable. The only thing is usually under stress, and that it does act up.
Well, listen, thank you very, very much, very much.
Thank you, and thank you all very much. I appreciate all the help, and I appreciate you allowing me to speak here. Thank you.
If it becomes law, the representative take you. Maybe Governor Corbett will sign the bill while you're there.
Yes, that would be nice. And Mr. Barb and I thoroughly enjoyed
Next.
your question. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
What's your problem?